This is easy. Maybe the easiest one yet. I mentioned this. What did you just
say?
3, 2, 1. I am Legend.
Can I just cut to me like sitting in English?
Welcome back to Flick Feuds, everybody. So obviously this is part 2 of the zombie tournament where we go through the rest of the rounds, but since this was literally filmed straight after the first one, we didn't really have an intro for this one, so I figured I'd give it a proper intro here. For anyone who's confused, please go back and watch round 1 of the zombie tournament for full context. I'll give a proper channel update at the end of the video, so be sure to stay for that, but for now I just want to say a couple of things. First off, the voting for round 1 of the fan version of the zombie tournament is closed and the full results are in the link in the description below. We didn't get as many votes this time round as we'd hoped, so please make sure to vote in the rest of the rounds via that same link in the description. Also, I do say it a couple times in the video, but I feel like I should preface this video with why I might sound a little dull in it. It's because just like the first video, this was filmed when I was still pretty ill, but I should have my energy back in the next video. Also, lighting still looks a little weird in this video and the sound isn't perfect, but please bear with us because we now have a lighting kit, so the videos that are coming up should look and sound a lot better. Make sure to stay till the very end if you're interested in what's going to happen with our channel from here on out, but for now, I'll let you get back to the video. It's gone warm already. Round 2. We've got World War Z versus Resident Evil The Final Chapter. That's pretty tough because they're both average, but one of them is way more fun. World War Z is more boring.
3,
we're going straight into
1,
it.
Resident Evil The Final Chapter.
That was quick.
Because World War Z was alright.
Yeah, but you haven't even seen Resident Evil The Final Chapter.
You sold it to me.
Alright, Resident Evil The Final Chapter is in round 3 of the best zombie movies. Sorry World War Z, that was very quick. Rachel wanted to get rid of you. We've got Dawn of the Dead Zack Snyder remake versus the original Wreck. I didn't even vote for Dawn of the Dead to get into this round. I think you persuaded me. So I don't want Zack Snyder making it much further. What do you mean it's hard?
It's not the hardest, but it's still like...
Wreck versus Train to Busan, you said was hard.
Wreck's scary. I heard about Dawn of the Dead before I heard about Wreck.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead is more iconic, but that's purely because it's an American film. If Wreck was American, which it is, Quarantine, I think it would... No, forget the iconology.
Matthew McConaughey. 3, 2, 1, Wreck.
Yes.
Wreck. I don't like the name Wreck though.
Short for record.
Yeah, I know. Obviously.
We've got 2 absolute classics here. We've got Warm Bodies versus The Girl with All the Gifts.
Are you joking?
Girl with All the Gifts, I'd forgotten even made it into this round.
It's because she had all the gifts. That's why
she had. Oh yeah, that's literally why I voted for it, because you said she's got all the gifts.
Yeah, I know which one I'm going to pick. And I feel like you know which one you're going to pick.
Well, yeah, I've only seen one.
But I'm surprised. I mean,
what did Girl with All the Gifts beat? Zombieland 2. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I was going to say I was surprised that the one I'm going to pick is going to make it to round 3, but I mean,
2, 1, The Girl with All the Gifts. No, I'm joking. Warm Bodies is actually a decent film.
Why do you keep making that a joke?
No, Warm Bodies is decent. Girl with All the Gifts I've never heard of, so can't say anything on it.
Warm Bodies is different, so...
Next, we have Day of the Dead versus Planet Terror. Now, if we're talking about different, then Day of the Dead is different. Oh, you haven't seen either of these, have you? But you know which ones they are, right? Day of the Dead is the original Warm Bodies. Planet Terror is the goofy 80s style one.
Which one would you think I would like more?
Oh, I don't know, You'd like Planet Terror because it's just like goofy, but there's more action. Whereas Day of the Dead's got more of a story, but it's also old. She's liked about 4 old movies in her life. One being Jurassic Park. Also old by M. Night Shyamalan. 3, 2, 1. Day of the Dead. But I've got no drink. You like the name? Is that why you went off it? Day of the Dead's a cool name.
It just sounds like Dawn of the Dead.
I'm sticking.
Which one do you generally think is better?
Day of the Dead. That's why I voted it. Day of the Dead is a better film.
Okay, fine.
We'll drink when
the day
we
is
have
dying,
a drink.
that's why we've turned on the light.
Oh, my voice keeps cracking. I'm still ill, by the way. In the last video we mentioned you're ill. You've mostly recovered.
The last video we filmed was
2 days.
2 days.
2 days ago.
We sound better though, I think.
I don't. I sound way worse.
No, Just literally zoom in on you sniffing.
Yeah, that's one time. Watch this video back. I'm sniffing every second.
I'm gonna have it so you don't edit any bits of you sniffing in it, so they're just all cut out, and then you look like an idiot.
The video will literally be like if they're all cut out. Alright, we've got Braindead.
Like a zombie.
Braindead versus is that what a zombie does? Right, we got Braindead versus Resident Evil Afterlife. I am not passionate on either of these. Resident Evil Afterlife was through because it had that really iconic goofy scene where they're fighting a bunch of zombie dogs and this guy who can like spin and jump in the air and stuff. Braindead's decent, it's got really good makeup. A lot of people love it.
Please don't put that in.
I'm keeping that in because I was talking and I can't cut out what I was saying because what I was saying is important, so I have to keep your burp in.
Say it again.
I don't remember what I said. I don't really care which one goes through, to be fair. We've got a Resident Evil film in round 3. That's kind of putting me off putting another one in. So 3, 2, 1, Braindead. Yeah.
We've got Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia.
And Zombieland.
I know what you're picking because you haven't seen one of them and you really like the other one. I really like them both.
Prince of Darkness sounds like a Disney film.
Yeah, it does. A lot of John Carpenter films sound like Disney films. Halloween, The Thing.
The Thing does not sound
In the Mouth of Madness.
A Disney film.
The Ward.
None of them sound like
Ghosts
Disney.
of Mars.
Yeah, that one, but not The Ward.
Ghosts of Mars. That's the one you agreed on.
Yeah.
What about Escape from New York?
No.
Alright, should we just vote?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Zombieland.
Yeah, both good films, but Zombieland is more of a zombie film. It fits the bill.
They all fit the bill.
No, I think
That's
Prince of
why I'm
Darkness
doing
is
that.
less of a zombie film. It's kind of
Prince
like...
film.
It's got like a curse involved, from what I remember.
Just like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes?
Yeah.
Right, we've got drinks now. We can down. 3, 2. So, moving on, we've got 28 Days Later versus I Am Legend. This is easy.
Easy.
Maybe the easiest one yet. I Am Legend is... What did you just
say?
3, 2, 1. I Am
28 days
Legend.
later.
So you copied me the whole time and then fucked up there. I mean, it's really obvious.
It's a really obvious.
It's really obvious.
It's a really obvious.
It's really obvious.
It's a really obvious.
28 Days Later knocked out Shaun of the Dead. If I Am Legend...
Should we do odds on? Because I'm really good at guessing like numbers. Ready? Odds on.
They didn't say what... No, you said, should we do odds on? They haven't replied yet.
1 to 10. Ready?
No, you said, should we do odds on? They never
3,
said yeah.
1, 4. 3, 2, 1.
8.
28 days later. He has to down his drink if I get it, ready?
3, 2, 1, 4.
4.
Did you hear I just said 4? 28 Days Later beat Shaun of the Dead. So if I Am Legend even comes close to beating 28 Days Later, then it's insulting and disgusting.
I mean, it wouldn't anyway, not even because of that reason.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't.
No, 3, 2, 1, 28 days later. Yeah, so, that's the most obvious one yet. For the final one of round 2, we've got the original Night of the Living Dead versus #Alive. It's not obvious, but like, there's not really another choice for this. You haven't seen either of them. I'd say I probably enjoyed them both the same amount, but one of them's Night of the Living Dead. You can't put a film called #Alive over the first zombie film.
Yeah, I mean, that title was just gonna lose.
That title's awful. 3, 2, 1, Night of the Living Dead. Was that odds on?
Yeah.
You said, oh, why do you keep making that joke over and over? And you just made a 3, 2, 1, 7.
Night of the Living Dead.
Wait, we're not doing odds on. 3, 2, 1.
Night of the Living Dead.
There we go. We're on to round 3. This is where things might get interesting. Resident Evil, the final chapter versus Wreck.
Alright.
This is a tough one.
No, it's not for me.
Can you explain your reasonings?
Because one was amazing and the other...
Is a bit slow.
The other...
And it's all set in one place.
I can't even picture.
No, it is obvious. But Resident Evil Final Chapter, it's made it far enough. It's a fun, dumb film.
It didn't quite make it to the final though, did it?
It made it to the semi-finals. It made it to the semi-final.
That's
okay. You had to explain that to me. Resident Evil, the final chapter, made it to the semi-finals. Let's give it a round of applause. 3, 2, 1, Wreck. Recreational drugs.
That was definitely the worst joke anyone's ever heard.
Anyone's ever heard. That is the lowest tier of joke.
We should do a tier list of Ben's jokes.
We actually should. It's not a tier list though. It's not a tier list. How many times you're making tears come out of my eyes listening to you? Bar.
Why is he crying over a girl? Well, pathetic.
She thinks it's pathetic to cry over a woman. Next one, we've got Warm Bodies versus Day of the Dead. This is actually a kind of tough one, you know. I know it's not for you, because you've only seen one of them and you like that film. I like both of these films. There's one thing that's leaning me towards the other. I won't say it because it gives it away which one I'm going to pick, and I don't want you leaning my way. I want you to just say what you think, and I say what I think, and if we disagree, we drink.
Is it bad if you go for a choice and you've picked the one that you haven't even seen? Surely that's bad.
No. 3,
Spoilers, I didn't spoil it.
2, 1. Day of the Dead. Yeah, I was going to say, because Day of the Dead is the original one.
Started off zombies.
No, it didn't.
Started off zombies.
It started off zombies, everybody.
Why there's that zombie in your garden?
There's a girl in the garden. It's a Shaun of the Dead reference. You wouldn't know because it got knocked out in round 1. Day of the Dead is the original Warm Bodies. It's quite convenient that they came against each other in round 3. It's quite convenient that Day of the Dead came all over Warm Bodies.
Excuse me?
Warm Bodies
What
is...
did you say?
Warm Bodies...
Game over.
Warm Bodies...
Game
Warm
over.
Bodies is a...
Game-
Warm Body...
Game over.
Warm Bodies is a loose remake of Day of the Dead, and I prefer Day of the Dead, to be fair. So Day of the Dead deserves to win. Well done, matey.
Right, next.
Braindead versus Zombieland. I can't really say... I've talked about Braindead. You haven't seen it, so you can't say anything about it. You really like Zombieland. I really like Zombieland.
Right.
3, 2, 1.
Zombieland.
Sorry, Braindead, but Zombieland's way more fun.
And just because Shaun of the Dead didn't go through.
Yeah, we've got to have one of the comedies in it. 28 Days Later versus Night of the Living Dead. I think this is kind of perfect.
Is Night of the Living Dead the first one?
Yeah.
First ever zombie movie. So you've got probably the most popular zombie movie.
28 Days Later?
Yeah. Everyone knows that film. And then you've got
Because Shaun of the Dead,
Night
I'd
of
say,
the Living
popular.
Dead, which is the most classic of classic films to ever exist.
I think this is a fitting, not to spoil it, but I think this is the fitting end for Night of the Living Dead. Because I don't really like it all that much, and you haven't seen it, and yet it's still made it to the quarterfinals. And we didn't force it there. We weren't like just saying it because it's the first one. It just got lucky and was up against like ones that we don't really care about.
And it's the best one to go up against
Yeah,
to get it out.
It's up against the great ones. It's been knocked out by a king. A king has defeated another king. 3, 2, 1. 28 Days Later. Oh, it's not even... Oh, sorry, I lied. Night of the Living Dead was not in the quarterfinals. That was the semi-finals. Right, we're now in the quarterfinals. We've got Rec versus Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead's made it further than I expected. I think that's got lucky.
Wow.
I like it, but I did not think, because you haven't seen it, I didn't think you'd push it
It's
this
just
far.
depending on who they're against, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what makes it interesting, because a normal ranking thing, it's just like too much agreement, too much like, oh yeah, this one's next, this one's next. It doesn't matter out of these two.
You randomise it, it's good.
Wow, wise words. Day of the Dead's a good film. It's classic. It's original. It's the furthest that a George A. Romero film has made it on this list. But Rec is fantastic. It beat Train to Busan in round 1, and for that it needs to keep going. Maybe. Sorry, I don't know which way I'm leaning. Neither does Rachel, neither do you. No one knows which way I'm leaning. We don't make it obvious until we say 3, 2, 1. We've never once made it obvious.
That's why we do the 3, 2, 1, because it's like all the suspense.
It's so intense. And like, what are they going to say?
No way did they just say that.
3, 2, 1,
Rec.
4. No way did he just... That's cringe. 3, 2, 1, Rec. Well done, Rec. Recreational drugs. Oh, I've just clicked on Rec versus Resident Evil Final Chapter.
Yeah.
No.
Consider zombie impression.
Right, we've got Zombieland versus 28 Days Later. Both great, great movies.
People would have fights over this. People would slap. People would have literally one of the biggest debates.
I don't know what people you're talking about.
Seen.
We're those people. We're the people that care about this stuff more than anyone else. No one cares about this more than us.
We should do a survey. We should go up to people and be like, Zombieland or 28 Days Later. People will stand there.
They'll just sit down, can't
Sit there. You've got me. I can't give an answer. But I can give an answer.
Yeah, I can also give an answer. I've actually got an answer. There's a lot of people who would lean one way, a lot of people would lean the other, but I don't think there's anyone who would be like...
It depends on your personal choice
yeah.
of films. I mean, they're both zombie, but I mean like the inner genre,
They're both
the second
zombie.
genre of the genre.
They're both zombie. 3, 2, 1. 28 days later. Yeah. That's the last comedy has been knocked out.
When you do think of zombie films, you would think of a comedy zombie film.
Yeah, to be fair, Shaun of the Dead, like I said, is my favourite, and it's a comedy zombie, and it's been knocked out in round 1.
Because are zombies really that scary? I think infected people are scary, and that counts as a zombie.
So 28 days later, they're infected, aren't they? They're not actually zombies.
And they're all slow, and they're just like you can just run away from them, can't you?
We've actually agreed way more in this than we did in the last video. We've drunk like 3 times, whereas in the last one we drank for nearly all of them. Oh yeah, we might get stuck on this one. Can I just say though that before we made this list, when I knew it was zombie the genre, I knew which one could potentially you had a winner
win.
in your mind?
Yeah, or in the final definitely, and it's in the final.
I had 4 that could have been
I just had one right in my head.
We've got Wreck versus 28 Days Later. Let's talk about them briefly. I know we've already talked about them, so we won't go into all the details. They're both similar in terms of they're both very realistic. They're probably the 2 most realistic on this list. They act like real people. They take real scenarios that would happen in those situations, like people acting stupid or people acting evil, and they're both very raw. Like they both feel like we're watching an actual outbreak.
I'm gonna go with the one that I feel is harder to create.
Well, you did talk about that for an hour earlier, so we know which one you're talking about.
I don't really want to give it away, but this is giving it away. One of the aspects of one of the films I'm not the biggest fan of in movies.
Okay, can you tell me one thing that you preferred about Wreck and one thing you preferred about 28 Days Later?
One thing I preferred about 28 Days Later.
Are you starting with that one, despite the order that I said them in?
28 Days Later, the impact it had, and the score, the cinematography.
I said one thing.
Yeah, I've said it. And then the Wreck, I felt was more scary.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. Yeah,
I thought Wreck was more of a horror.
This is tough. This is really tough. I like it when the finals is tough because I think the last one was tough, but it was tough in a different way. This one, they're both very similar and they're both on a very similar level of quality. Both deserve to win, I think. I'd be happy if both won. 3, 2, 1.
28 Days Later. The reason why is because I'm not the biggest fan of found footage.
I knew that was
films.
it, yeah.
28 Days Later. Do you want to wreck this? Record this?
Oh, we meant like W-R-E-C-K. Right, Ralph. I'll just wait.
We've actually disagreed.
Well, I just wanted to make it interesting. I was actually going to say 28 days later, but you made it so obvious you were going to say it. I thought we could drink for the last one. I will agree with you.
Yeah, but then I did say Wreck's more horror, and I really like...
No, it's close, yeah.
For me, horror beats anything. So...
They both deserve a win, but I think 28 Days Later has more of a cultural impact. If you talk to anyone, they're like zombie movies, they'd go Shaun of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, 28 Days Later. Like,
that was the one that was in my mind from the beginning.
Well done, 28 Days Later. My final 4 that I had in my head, like I was like, I'll be happy if any of these win.
Can I guess your final 4? Is this before you made the list?
No, like four that I think it's got to be one of them.
Your best zombie films would be Shaun of the Dead, One Cut of the Dead.
I remember before that was going to win.
28 Days Later, and Wreck.
Yeah, but One Cut of the Dead was wrong.
Oh, what was that one then?
Train to Busan.
Oh yeah.
My 4 were
of
against
them.
each other in the first round. Wreck versus Train to Busan and Shaun of the Dead versus 28 Days Later.
Yeah, but then again, somehow I feel like that made it easier.
Yeah, it did.
Because if you had
it would have been a boring quarterfinals.
in the quarterfinal, you'd
Don't
be
care.
like, what do you do?
It still makes it interesting though, because like even if you're happy with, I was happy with those 2, like it still makes the finals interesting.
Yeah, I'm really happy with those 2, you know.
I'm really happy with the whole list because obviously although Shaun of the Dead and Train to Busan went out first, it was the 2 finalists that knocked them out.
Because what were the 2 left on the pick-off ones?
Midsummer and Cabin Fever. Kind of random. They're not the epitome of the genre.
Oh yeah, they're not, when you think of pick-off horror horror, I don't think you'd go to them first.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know Cabin Fever.
I'd say the first video was very much our list. It was very different and random. So this is kind of a fan favourite one. But if people were going to put their votes in, they can do it themselves so we can see how it would actually pan out in real life.
If there's films you haven't watched on here, you could just go from our description and see which one of us sold the film more and then pick that way, because a lot of people probably don't know Pontypool, do they? Or you could just go and watch it. Some people have other things to do than watch films, but we don't.
Yeah, true. We'll in between making these videos, we'll be editing these videos or watching films.
And after we've made this video, we'll probably watch a film.
Teaser for our next video idea. The next one might be the complete opposite of our last two. It's not in any way horrific. It's the complete furthest away from horror that you can find, unless you deep dive into the...
Can you hear Ruby whistling?
You might find some horror dug deep into this entity. So you might find some horror within, but on the outside, it's all fun and games.
Yeah, and then let us know if you want to know more about the horror side.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you, who knows, a week, maybe 28 days later.
Weeks later, we will wreck the film, the video.
On the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
At the beginning, I said there would be a little update at the end of the video, and I could explain a few things as well. Although I mentioned that our videos will look and sound better in the future because I've got like a lighting set now and I've figured out how to properly use the microphone. But the only issue is we filmed 3 videos all at once at the beginning when we first decided to make this series. So we filmed 3 of them back in April, didn't realise how long it would take to edit them, so now the third one we filmed back then is the next one, the one that we teased at the end of this video. That's still got to come out, and that we filmed without the lighting kit, obviously. I don't know why we did that, because we didn't realise how long it would actually take to edit these videos, and now by the time this next one comes out, it'll be about 3 months late probably to when we actually filmed it. But after that, we've got another one filmed, which we filmed more recently. That's probably our best video yet. I think both, to be fair, I think the next video coming out is the best video yet, and then the one after that will also be the best video yet. We filmed that with a lighting set, but we decided we're going to just edit things first, and then film something, edit it, film something, edit it, rather than film, edit, film, edit. I think it's a better structure to do it this way now. I don't know if we've spoiled the next topic of the video anywhere else, because we now have an Instagram where we post little updates and ask questions and just interact with our fans. Rachel set that up, so she's doing a really good job with it, so go follow us there. I'll put the link in the description below. Also follow us on TikTok. I'll put the link in the description down there. You'll see short little clips from these videos, and now we do short movie reviews for films we saw in the cinema. We won't just be doing tournaments on this channel, we do have other ideas for videos. I think the next one we're filming is a different thing. It's still to do with movies, but it's completely different. Oh yeah, I did mention this at the beginning of the video, but it's really important for us. Please vote in the fan version of the tournament. You make an account, but once you've made it, it's done. You don't have to make another one, and then you can vote in all our future videos and all our future tournaments. Because we didn't get that many votes this time round. I mean, we got enough to make it like a fair round, but I don't know, we want more votes for the next one. But yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video, which should hopefully be out in around a month. That's usually how long it takes us to edit them. Please go back and watch the other videos. It should be on screen. We've got the first part of the zombie tournament, round 1. Hopefully you would have seen that before watching this. I don't know why you would have watched this first. And the other video is a tournament we did on pick-off horror films, which is a genre we made up where a group of people are killed off one by one by a killer or, I don't know, natural disaster, anything like that. So watch that. It's even longer because there's 64 films in that one. And yeah, please watch our next video when it comes out. Follow us everywhere and subscribe. Goodbye.